A rodeo rounder, a rodeo rounder, rodeo rounder. Ah, yeah. Welcome to the rodeo roundup with your host Aliyah Parker. Gonna show you around and wind it up. Y'all ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Come on in, come on down, come and get you a seat. We can see you around the corner, so don't you wait for me. Welcome to the rodeo roundup. Rodeo roundup. It's a dog and pony show. Bring your horse and ride it slow. I'm the lady on the track, and I run the rodeo. Getting you up in your seat, the hottest ticket on the street. We're ready to go, now you know who put the country in show. Welcome to the rodeo roundup with your host Aliyah Parker. Gonna show you around and wind it up. Y'all ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Come on in, come on down, come and get you a seat. We can see you around the corner, so don't you wait for me. Welcome to the rodeo roundup. Rodeo roundup. I'ma make you see the reason why you came. Gonna show you that a cowgirl's not the same. I'ma give you something to remember. I'ma make you fall for a southern girl. Make you fall for a southern girl. Welcome to the rodeo roundup with your host Aliyah Parker. Gonna show you around and wind it up. Y'all ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Come on in, come on down, come and get you a seat. We can see you around the corner, so don't you wait for me. Welcome to the rodeo roundup. Rodeo roundup. Rodeo roundup.
Well, hey there, sugar. Welcome to the Rodeo Roundup, where we gather up the guests for our host, Aliyah Parker.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome on into the Rodeo Roundup. I'm your host with the most, Aliyah Yeehaw Parker. Tonight, we got ourselves Naruske Kumaroko. We're mighty glad to have you, sugar.
Glad to be here. Thank you, Miss Parker.
Oh, honey, just call me Aliyah.
Okay, Aliyah.
So, darling, how you doing today?
I'm good.
Why don't you tell us a little about yourself, Naruske?
Well now, Aliyah, I'd say I'm just a simple person with a busy mind and a big heart. I like enjoyable conversation, peaceful moments, and finding joy in the trivial things. I may not always be the loudest in the room, but I always try to be genuine.
Well, now, that's mighty nice to hear. Tell us how you got into wrestling.
So I'm gonna show my age here. I became a fan of wrestling back in 2009, back when video game stores allowed you to play games before buying them. I asked one of them to try SmackDown vs. Raw 2009.
So, was that what got you curious about wrestling in the first place?
No, to me it was a video game about the sport that my cousins liked.
So your cousins were wrestling fans, but you sure weren't?
Correct. To me, it was just something they enjoyed, and I never really paid much attention to it at first. But after playing the game, I started getting curious about the characters, the moves, and the stories behind everything. Before long, I found myself wanting to watch it for real.
So that game reeled you in first, and then wrestling itself kept you hooked?
Exactly. It started as just a game, but once I saw how much personality and storytelling went into wrestling, I became a fan.
Did you make it out to any events?
Yes. My first event was a SmackDown taping in December of 2009 at the Izod Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
What was it like being there in person for the very first time?
Now, of course, I'm just thinking it's SmackDown on a Tuesday, but called Friday Night SmackDown. I never knew they were taped on Tuesday, then shown on Friday. So when I went there for the first time, I saw ECW, a show called Superstars, and then the main show of SmackDown. It was unforgettable. Seeing the lights, hearing the entrance music, and feeling the energy of the crowd made everything feel bigger than life. Watching it on television was one thing, but being there in person made me realize just how exciting wrestling could be.
Did you have any favorite wrestlers back then when you were first becoming a fan?
Oh, of course. Guys like Jeff Hardy, John Morrison, high flyers, and people who did crazy stunts.
Were there folks you just plain didn't care for back then?
CM Punk and Randy Orton.
Were you only watching WWE at the time, or did you keep up with any other wrestling shows too?
Yes, TNA Impact.
How'd you come to know about that show?
Once again, the power of video games. Specifically, TNA Impact, the video game for the Nintendo Wii.
Well, really now?
Yeah, I never heard of the show, but that was at the time when WWE didn't talk about other shows, but I digress. I went to this game shop and saw the game. I was curious. I picked it up. It said it was wrestling, bought it, went home, and enjoyed it. Once again, it was a case of me saying, well, if the game is this wild, the real show must be chaos with a budget.
Chaos with a budget just might be the truest thing I've ever heard about wrestling. That ought to be on a t-shirt, a billboard, and maybe even somebody's entrance ramp. Did you have any favorite wrestlers from that show?
So many. AJ Styles, Sting, Beer Money, Motor City Machine Guns, Suicide, LAX, and Team 3D.
Now be honest with me, Sugar. Did all this make you try any wrestling moves at home, or were you one of them sensible young'uns?
Sensible is a very generous word, Aliyah. I didn't try the dangerous moves, but I absolutely copied entrance poses in the mirror like I was about to defend the living room championship in front of 12 screaming throw pillow.
Alrighty then, we've covered your history as a wrestling fan, so now let's mosey on back to the video game side of it. Alright then, let's jaw a bit about wrestling games. What was it about them that grabbed you so quick?
Alright, so SmackDown vs. Raw had this fun mode called Road to WrestleMania, and there were 5 character-driven storylines that you had to go through before WrestleMania, and it was the most fun I ever had.
Was that the reason you bought those games year after year?
Yes, every year there were 5 new stories, and a lot of unlockable to be unlocked. I had to skip 2013's game because I didn't have a PlayStation 3.
How come you didn't have yourself a PS3?
My whole life had just been Nintendo. From the NES to Wii U, I never had any need for another branded home console. I never had a PS2, but did have a PS1 and a PS Vita though. A Sega Genesis, like I said showing my age, and never an Xbox system. To this day of 2026, my first Xbox will always be the Series S.
But you did wind up getting a PS3 though, right?
Yes, only because of the WWE Network.
Well, go on then.
So in 2014, the WWE decided to make a streaming network for only $9.99. I was going to get a subscription, but it was only for PlayStation and Xbox consoles. So I went to a local retro game shop and I saw they had a PlayStation 3 for only $200. I went in, I bought it, I subscribed to the WWE Network, and now I have my first PlayStation home console since my PS1. To this day, I still have it, plus another one for some reason.
So, what was the very first game you got for that PS3?
Mass Effect 2.
Well, hush my mouth? Really?
Yes, I played the 3rd game on the Wii U because the games were never on the other consoles I had/have.
Well, alright. So, once you had that PS3, you could keep on buying WWE games, right?
The first WWE game I bought for the PS3 was WWE 2K14. It was the most fun I've ever had with a WWE game.
Mind elaborating on that for us?
Sure thing. First, the 30 years of WrestleMania clued me into so many legendary moments I missed while dismissing the sport of wrestling. The Creation Suite, it will always be the best Creation Suite. Create a wrestler, create a finisher, create a championship, move sets, entrances, and the best one, create a story, which to this day is still not on any other games.
Well, that's all fine and dandy, but did you make yourself any friends through these games?
I met these really great guys during my time in college.
You went off to college?
Yes, shockingly, I went to college. It was this university in Montclair, New Jersey. Again, I digress. So one day, I brought my PS3 down to the shared area and was playing WWE 2K14. And these guys who I've never met before coming and start saying, this guy is playing WWE 2K14. And of course, he's using Roman Reigns.
Why, Roman Reigns of all folks?
He's my favorite wrestler, of course. So he wants to play, he introduces himself, he brings down an extra controller, so now we're playing against each other. I'm Roman Reigns, he's playing Kane, and it was so much fun. He's trying to choke slam me, but I keep reversing. Trying to pin me, I keep kicking out at 2, I do a Superman punch, I do the ooh-ah, pin, 1, 2, 3. He's never met anyone who could do that. So, he pulls out the big guns, and by that, I mean his favorite and his main guy, The Undertaker. So the same thing happened again and I win.
Well, that was a hoot of a story. Did you ever get to meet his friends too?
Yes, he introduced me as the guy who beat his Undertaker and his Kane in 2K14. They were all shocked as no one could ever do that. They had accepted me into this group and we all became friends.
Do y'all still keep up with one another?
Sadly, no, but we do talk to each other on social media.
Well, ain't that something? So now that we've talked about your love of wrestling and the friends you made, let's jaw a bit about your creations. Who was the very first creation you ever made?
Alright, that would be Alexia Yamashita in WWE 2K16. She was actually created to be used for my career mode. Let me tell you this, the next few games will be just the same as now. 2K17 introduces Julie Jarrett, Jessica Storm, Rachel Blackwell, and Victoria Jordan. 2K18 was the biggest roster creation of my life. Patricia Hart, Amanda Cole, Cynthia Cyclone, Marissa Valentine being the first, Sonya Harvey, Yuri Suzuki, Satoru Yamamoto, Kobayashi, Matsuda, Yamashita, all those women were created in 2K18. Oh, there is something about 2K18 that was fun.
What was it, darling?
So I watch another YouTube channel called Wrestling with Regret, and this guy, Brian Zane, he does an open challenge, and I joined one of his matches. A 6-man Money in the Bank ladder match.
Well now, did you win?
Yes, I do. I chose my favorite wrestler, Roman Reigns, and won.
So now that all those women were created and 2K19 was right around the corner, where'd you get the idea to turn them into faction wars?
2018 is the year where I moved outside the WWE bubble and started watching other promotions. The one that hooked me was New Japan Pro Wrestling. In that promotion, you had factions everywhere. Chaos, Bullet Club, Los Ingobernables de Japón, Suzuki Guns. Ring of Honor had the Kingdom. So I'm like, I need to get on this whole faction war train. So I take these women who I created from past years and put them with each other. Speaking of creating more women, for 2019, I made Melissa, currently Sabin, Rocker, Caitlyn Skinner, Selena Kyle, Catherine Katsuyori, and Lauren Psycho, and they were the queendom. The first character for 2K19 Isabella Andres was the first Latina I ever created. Selena Black, Jacqueline Owens, Teresa, currently love England.
And also, honey, a J Fox.
Let me tell you something about AJ Fox. I had no intention of creating AJ Fox. I got the idea from someone who asked me to create her.
Mind elaborating on that a little, sugar?
Someone Instagrammed me and asked if I could create this type of wrestler for him, and let me tell you, she does not look like the way she does now.
Well now, really?
Straight up, she had skin as white as snow, ponytail, and eyes like a swimming pool. So I created her and made the match as per the request, and he liked it.
So, what'd you do with AJ after that?
I made this woman, so I guess I put her with Villain Enterprises, and that is how the love story of Selena / AJ happened.
Well now, that sure was an interesting story. So now that we've talked about the created wrestlers up till now, let's talk about how you decide where to put the real wrestlers.
So it started with the 4 horsewomen of NXT, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. With Charlotte, I put her on the Elite because in my wrestling mind, a Flair and a Hart on the same team would be funny. Becky Lynch on the Queendom because Melissa liked Becky. Sasha Banks on the Bullet Club because of her attitude of the time was rebellious. And Bayley on the Villain Enterprises because I needed her to be a villain.
What about LIJ, darling?
I gave them Asuka.
All right then. So you had two more wrestlers to start with, right?
Yes, I did. For the Elite, there was Charlotte Flair, Nikki Bella, Ronda Rousey, Lacey Evans, and Kairi Sane. Bullet Club had Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Ruby Riott. Queendom started with Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler, and Carmella. Villain Enterprises started with Bayley, Trish Stratus, and Paige.
That's mighty fine. Now I gotta ask, when did it all get started?
It all starts February 25th, 2019, my 24th birthday. I did this whole birthday stream of the first ever Best in the World tournament.
Where'd you get the Best in the World title from?
I got it from Crown Jewel 2018. That's why back then the tournaments were always Crown Jewel.
So the tournament happens, Melissa Rocker wins, and after that you decide to make a tag team version of it?
Yes, there are always two sides to the coin. In this case, one tournament is singles. The other is a tag team.
So we're done with 2K19 and moving on to 2K20. What was that like?
2K20 was to me a mixed bag. On one hand, it was a graphical and buggy mess of a game, and for some dumb reason it shut itself down, like the rest of the world when the year turned to 2020. On the other hand, it was the most creative game outside of 2K14.
What you mean by most creative, Sugar?
Custom DLCs, where one takes place in a swamp, one that is a Mad Max-styled wasteland, one futuristic arena, and a Southpaw wrestling where I think that you would have liked.
Wrestling in the South? Sounds like my kind of wrestling. So did you create any new characters in 2K20?
Yes, I did. I needed another faction to make everything even. So 2K20 introduces Yuri's sister Akane Suzuki, the witch Samantha Shade, her familiar Andrea Winters, and Lilith Wesley. And at the tail end of 2K20, Lori Tanaka for Los Ingobernables de Japón and Brittany Wesley for Suzuki Guns.
Who came out on top in them tournaments?
Mia Yim won the Best in the World, and Kairi Sane and Patricia Hart won the Best Tag Team in the world.
Alrighty, now on to the next game. Go on and tell me about them new characters.
2K22 is noticeable for the introduction of Jajin Shang and Madison Woods for the Elite, Angela Ortiz for the Queendom, renaming Villain Enterprises to the Villain Rangers, the starting of the color schemes, the betrayal of Kobayashi and her defection to the Bullet Club, the end of Suming Pai, the beginning of Jade Hayabusa, and also the start of Aftermaths after finals.
Where'd you get the names Madison Woods and Jajin Shang?
Well, after years of having the faction be unbalanced, I needed to bring in new women. I had 4 for the Elite, Amanda, Cynthia, Marissa, and Patricia, and need 2 more to get to 6. I've always liked the name Madison, and the Woods part came from looking outside the house and seeing trees. For Jajin Shang, her name came from the ring announcement select screen.
Well now, really?
Yeah, I needed a name that was Chinese and didn't sound like it came from Dynasty Warriors.
Tell me about Angela Ortiz, darling.
Angela is my second lady Latina who I created for the Queendom. She was made to be the 6th member and have this long rivalry with Isabella Andres.
And Jade Hayabusa?
She was made as a replacement for Suming Pai. The name came from Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden.
So, what's this I hear about renaming a faction?
So I was getting into Super Sentai at the time, still am, so I wanted to name a faction after it. While none of the other factions would make a good Sentai names, the one that worked was Enterprise Sentai Villain Rangers. So I would follow the Sentai formula and have Sonya Harvey be the leader / Red Ranger while the others are the other Ranger colors.
Did you have any Ranger-style outfits for them?
Yes, I did, but were only used when they were tagging or facing off against each other. They had jackets, sunglasses, and hats during entrances, and then when they were in the ring, they had these Sentai-based uniforms.
Land sakes, that's amazing. So you mentioned color schemes?
Yes! So past games, there were just random colors based on the real-life factions. But now I'm into this Japanese tokusatsu show called Kamen Rider. First of all, it's amazing. Second, those costumes gave me the idea for the color schemes. So the Bullet Club now has the color scheme of the riders from Kamen Rider Gaim. Elite has the scheme of the riders from Decade/X-Aid. Suzuki Guns color scheme of the riders from Kamen Rider Build. The Queendom color scheme of the riders from Kamen Rider W Villain Rangers when not in the Sentai outfits color scheme of the riders from Kamen Rider 01, and the Los Ingobernables stable color scheme of the riders from Kamen Rider 000s.
Wish I had me a color scheme. So what's this betrayal business with Kobayashi?
In real life, Evil, the person I based Kobayashi off of, turned from Los Ingobernables de Japan to join the Bullet Club. To imitate real life, I had to have Kobayashi betray Los Ingobernables de Japan to join the Bullet Club.
Lord, I sure hope nobody betrays me. Ain't that right, Sonny?
Aliyah, now you know good and well I ain't going nowhere. Me and you are tighter than a belt at Sunday supper.
That's why I love you. Now back to you. What'd you mean by ending Su Ming Pai?
So the ring announce menu is really bad at learning foreign names, so I had to get her announcement as correct as possible, and it came out as Su Mean Pine. You can see why I decided to bring in Jade Hayabusa.
Well, now that's a sad tale. Anyhow, the last thing you mentioned about 2K22 was them aftermaths.
So, after the Best in the World finals, I would just go on to the tag team tournament, but in 2022, I decided that the winners of the Best in the World Championship and the Anime Women's Championship would face off in the main event of a faction versus faction aftermath.
Which two factions were the first to do that?
The first two were the Villain Rangers and Suzuki Guns, thanks to Dakota Kai and Lilith Wesley, with Dakota Kai winning both titles.
Who won Best Tag Team in the World in 2K22?
The Young Bucks. Amanda Cole and Marissa Valentine.
Well, ain't that neat? Let's mosey on to 2023.
2K23 is notable for not being able to be completed due to the files on a drive that went missing.
Well, what in tarnation?
I'm doing these on the PC now from the PS4 after 2K20 happened. So to utilize the PC, I had an external drive where I would save the recordings, and then still to this day, that drive is still missing.
Was there at least a new character, darling?
Yes, I introduced Maria Wolf to the world and put her with the Villain Rangers' 6th member.
Well, I reckon we ought to talk about 2K24 then.
So much stuff introduced in 2K24. Managers, people, a bash at the beach, a draft that changes how I put people in factions, and a storyline that died.
Ooh, now that sounds interesting. Tell me about them managers.
Well, Kaori actually made an entertaining video on it, but I can talk more in depth about it, so I needed someone to stand with the factions in their matches. That's when I got an idea to make managers.
Who were the managers, and who were they new folks?
Christy Harper for the Elite, Crimson Kelly for the Bullet Club, Ivy Nichols for the Queendom, Susan Sexton for the Judgment Day, Tiffany Price for the Villain Rangers, and Quan Kushida for the Los Ingobernables stable. So while Quan Kushida bought Los Ingobernables de Japan from me by torturing me, I had to retire Matsuda from LIJ. She brought in a samurai named Mai Muta who shot an arrow and nearly decapitated Jade Hayabusa.
Mercy, that sounds awful.
It was. Anyways, the next new person was Nomi Matsumoto. She's the daughter of Judgment Day manager, and that's how she got into Judgment Day.
And those women are still with you today?
Yep.
Fascinating. Tell me about Bash at the Beach.
So after the Best in the World finals, the aftermath became Becky Lynch defending the Best in the World championship against Anime Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. So it became the Elite versus the Queendom with the Villain Rangers taking on Bullet Club.
What made it at the beach exactly?
They were in swimsuits.
Maybe I ought to been there. I know good and well I look fine in a swimsuit.
Shoot, so would I.
Honey, we both look good in swimsuits. You mentioned something about a draft?
Yes. So I decided on a mid-season draft that would shake up the rosters. The way it started was the wrestlers with the lowest overall to start since they'd be the lowest picks. Then the 6 leaders would face off in the elimination chamber, and the order they were placed was who gets pinned first, and a Royal Rumble determined the final placements. So from now on, this is how I determine which WWE wrestler goes to which faction.
Tell me about that storyline that petered out.
Oh boy, here we go. So there was nothing to do between the draft and Best Tag Team Tournament, so I wanted to do a rivalry card with the main event being Angela Ortiz and Isabella Andres. The thing is, it was supposed to be a love triangle between, and I kid you not, Angela Ortiz, my best friend Wesley, and Isabella Andres.
So you were trying to set Wesley up in that storyline?
I mean, he didn't interject the idea of it, but it kind of fell apart, and the story was scrapped, and that faction versus faction match just came to be.
Who won the Best Tag Team Tournament, Sugar?
The Queendom's Melissa Rocker and Candice LeRae.
So 2K25 just came and went. What would you say is the biggest thing folks ought to notice about 2K25?
Introducing 4 new wrestlers, the entire faction's changing, cosplay, a win/loss system, and the United Empire.
Go on and tell us about them 4 new wrestlers.
I'll talk about this and the factions changing since they coincide with each other. So after years of having the same women be in the same faction since 2019, I thought it was getting kinda stale. I pushed that big old reset button and shuffled the wrestlers to new factions.
So what'd you wind up doing?
Once again, Kaori made a video on this, but let me talk about it some more. What I did, and this coincides with the 4 new wrestlers, I grew the faction limit to 14, so that's 7 created and 7 WWE. Since these new wrestlers were coming in, I needed to decide who gets the new ones. So I had the 6 factions decide who they wanted to bring in, while at least keeping 1 member from past to stay.
Which 4 factions wound up getting the new ones?
The newly named Heart Foundation got Velvet Thunder, Bullet Club got Tessa Knight, Los Ingobernables de Japón got Rose Martinez, and Judgment Day got Danny Lazara.
Tell us about all 4 of them.
Velvet Thunder is the crazy one, Tessa Knight is the beauty one, Rose Martinez is stoic, and Danny Lazara is a visionary.
So what's all this about cosplay?
The Cosplay Bash was a new idea for the fallout of the Best in the World tournament. So instead of a bash at the beach and swimsuits, it was an anime arena and cosplays.
Who won the Best in the World finals, darling?
Lilith Wesley grabbed her second tournament win and defended her belt against anime women's champion Lash Legend.
What was your favorite cosplay, Sugar?
Io Sky as Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII.
What's this win-loss system you got going on?
So now I'm actually counting wins and losses, because at the end of the year there will be awards handed out for MVP, Rookie, Faction, Tag Team, Comeback, Leader, and Most Improved of the Year for both creations and WWE wrestlers.
So who took home them honors?
Lilith Wesley won the MVP, Candice LeRae won the WWE side, Danny Lazara won Rookie of the Year alongside Lash Legend, Los Ingobernables de Japón won Faction of the Year.
Who all made up the United Empire.
So the Villain Ranger stuff was getting stale, and with a new group of wrestlers coming into the faction, it was Tiffany's idea that they go with United Empire.
So that's everything you've done so far?
I've done so far.
You got time for a few questions?
Sure thing.
Akai Senko asked, Burrow, you got into wrestling because of SVR 2009? What was the first thing that hooked you?
The storytelling during the road to WrestleMania.
Brandy Lyons asked, busy mind and a big heart is wholesome. What do you do to stay grounded?
I make sure to play other games on my days off.
Chiaki Sango asked, wait, so you weren't even a fan at first? What made you finally start watching for real?
I was thinking that if the games were inspired by the real-life drama of what goes on, it would be fun to see the real people doing all that.
Evelyn Matrix asked, SmackDown taping at the Izod Center as your first show is crazy. What was the loudest pop you remember?
Matt Hardy coming out to confront CM Punk.
Ferris Lucaris asked, you were 14 at your first event. Did it change how you saw wrestling instantly?
Yes, actually. Growing up, I always thought it was the F word, and I even told my cousins that. Then in 2009, I became hooked, and am glad to still be one.
Genevieve Knight asked, Jeff Hardy plus John Morrison. You taste who's your favorite high flyer now?
Osprey.
Hiro Kato asked, CM Punk and Randy Orton were your don't like picks? Do you still feel that way?
Randy Orton is not anymore because the RKO is the best move. CM Punk is still on the fence.
Kaori Natsuki asked, finding TNA because of the Wii game is actually legendary. Do games still create fans like that today?
Yes, they do.
Kyoko Hinata asked, chaos with a budget. Who let him cook? What promotion fits that phrase the most?
All Elite Wrestling.
Kuji Tanko, nah, Living Room Championship. Got me what was your go-to entrance pose?
Roman Reigns acknowledgement pose.
Kuro Mimi asked, Road to WrestleMania being your favorite mode. Which year had the best stories?
SmackDown vs. Raw 2011.
Lillian Kate asked, you bought WWE games yearly for the stories/unlockables. What's the best unlockable you ever got?
The Winter Wrestling Arena in 2K20.
Maya Reyes asked, skipping 2013 because no PS3 is pain? What game did you miss the most over the years?
BlazBlue Series.
Mommy Tamani asked, Nintendo only. Most of your life is wild. What finally made you jump consoles?
Like I said before, it was my inability to use the Wii U to watch the WWE Network.
Mikasa Angel asked, buying a PS3 just for WWE Network is dedication. Was it worth it?
Yes, it allowed me to make the jump to the PS3, and now, in today's time, when they're asking you for $30 monthly for just PLE, then when it was only $9.99 and you'd get PPVs plus the entire WWE library, it was worth it.
Nagi Izumi asked, first PS3 game being Mass Effect 2? Is such a plot twist, why that one?
It was the first series I really got into. Since the other two were not made for the Wii, I never got the chance to play it. So when I got my first PS3, Mass Effect 2 was the game I wanted most. Fun fact, I never played the first of the series until the Legacy Collection.
Nana Suzuki asked, WWE 2 K14, most fun ever. What's the number one reason? WrestleMania mode or Creation Suite?
Creation Suite. 30 years of WrestleMania was good, but not good creatively.
Oshi Hanoka asked, create a story not coming back as criminal. What kind of story would you make if it returned?
I would retry the love triangle storyline and actually have a reason why they're feuding.
Pixie Lamia asked, yo, the college story? How did you reverse everything like that?
I played a lot of WWE by myself, so the timing of moves was a part of me.
Reiko Nato asked, beating Kane and Undertaker got you adopted into the friend group? That's anime, do y'all still game sometimes?
We used to play Mortal Kombat 10 so much, but now we have nothing to play with each other.
Reina Gosei asked, Roman Reigns being your main makes sense. What's your favorite Roman moment IRL?
People are going to roast me. When Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble back in 2015, everyone was booing while I was cheering.
Sakiyuki asked, first CAW being Alexia Yamashita in 2K16. What inspired her name/look?
Alexia was the starting point for a lot of what came later. I made her for my career, so I wanted a name that sounded memorable and a look that felt like a proper lead character. Alexia gave me that, and Yamashita reflected the Japanese influence that would show up more and more in my roster over time.
Sasuke Uramasa asked, 2K18. You made a whole roster? How do you even keep track of all those characters?
I use Microsoft Excel to keep the spreadsheets of who has what type of championship and who is with who.
Seiko Kojima asked, watching NJPW and seeing factions everywhere, what faction made you go, okay, I need this in my universe?
Both Bullet Club and Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Shizuka Kokonoe asked, the faction war idea is fire. What's your personal favorite faction you've built?
2025 Heart Foundation, both with new team members and great WWE members on that team.
Tsukiyami asked, a J Fox being created from an Instagram request is hilarious. Do you still take requests?
If anybody wants to have their creations shown in this way, then yes, by all means, send me ideas for me to create.
Umi Nakano asked, she does not look like she does now. How much did AJ Fox change over time?
Well, she has gone from skin as white as snow to this. I would say that's a massive change.
Vela Chujin asked, Selena/AJ love story happened because of faction placement. Do storylines happen on purpose or organically?
For AJ and Selena, it was a mutual friendship that started out as new partners. Then as things grew, it developed into a love story. Now that partnership is gone as they are now with different factions.
Wendy Anuka asked, February 25th, 2019, starting it all. Birthday stream. What made you decide it was time to put it on YouTube?
When all pieces were in place and had the first tournament, that's when I knew it was time to go public and broadcasting on YouTube.
Yukari Nozaki asked, 2K20 being a buggy mess, but super creative. Would you rather have polished gameplay or wild creativity?
Wild creativity. I don't play it as much as I let the CPU face each other. So with the creativity that 2K20 brought with its custom DLC, it was...
Yuno Tatsuki asked, Villain Enterprises becoming Villain Rangers is genius. Did you make full Sentai roles for everyone?
Not as much as just Tiffany Price being the mentor and Sonya Harvey being the leader.
Yuriko Fujikawa asked, Kamen Rider inspired color schemes are such a flex which faction's colors came out the best?
If anything, the Queendom's outfits with the Kamen Rider W inspired color scheme.
I'll ask the last one, Sugar. That win-loss setup plus them end-of-year awards is serious business. Did it change how you book matches?
Yes, it did actually, 'cause now it makes me look at the records and keep up with the wins and losses.
Well, I reckon that's all for now. I surely do thank you, Naruske Kumaroko, for being our guest on the Rodeo Roundup.
It was my pleasure.
So, for Sonny Devlin and myself, Aliyah Parker, y'all have yourselves a yeehaw night and an even better yeehaw tomorrow.
A rodeo roundup. A rodeo roundup.